Hello, my Teaserking family. How is everybody today? I hope you are well. Let's try that again. So we start off with our gold. Gold 2906. It's taken a ride. So it started at about 29 once the Chinese took over. And it went all the way up to 2940 at about 11 o'clock. And I'm going, here, we're going to hit 30 right now. And then I see back down to 2913 at midnight, 2330 at 1 o'clock. And then it takes its tank down to 2886 at 8 o'clock. So the 8 o'clock derivative by the Brits took. The US get it. They did a little derivative back to 2895. And then since then, it's been going up. It's now 2907. So I'm starting to think Tuesdays is the go down day, Wednesdays is the go up day. So it's all planned. Silver at 31.94. Again, it's held by JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs. It's not going anywhere till you blow up COMEX. Even though there's huge demand and low supply, it's not free market. This is what I try to emphasize. So gold 29.07. So it did hold. I'm going to run and get some silver after class. I'll run to the bank. Got my Social Security check, and I don't want to leave that much money in the bank. You never know when the bank pulls the plug. So if you have an opportunity to pull it, it's the same difference. If the money's in the bank or the money's in your safe, there's no difference except for you can get the money in your safe. You're not sure you can get the money out of the bank. And then the next thing is, do I trade it for gold and silver, or do they keep it in fiat Titanic money? And usually you leave enough, depending on your situation. Are you working or not? Do you have enough money to pay bills? And you don't have to cash in your gold. Then if you have all that, then you go buy more gold and silver. If you still need the money, the last thing I want to do is sell an ounce of gold at these prices instead of using worthless cash. But if they're going to take cash for my bills, I'm more than willing to give them cash. As I tell the gold store, if you're willing to take monopoly money, I'm happy to give it to you. And it's so far over his head, he doesn't get it. So again, COMEX is breaking up in gold because of the Basel III, which says you've got to give delivery. And that's what all the gold's coming into the US from I don't think it was England's gold because they don't have any, right? London had gotten rid of all their gold. They don't have, this is like Canada. It's just like us. We don't have gold. We have something in Fort Knox that's China's gold, but we don't have gold. So what's happening is we must have gold in England, and then they're just giving us back our gold. But we're not using it to pay the debt down. We're not going on a gold standard anytime soon. So it's to pay the derivative. It's the only logical explanation we can get. They're paying the derivatives with it, which is fine. We see the gold price going. So at this point, now we talked yesterday with, I think Ron, about selling my gold for silver. And my analysis was gold's going up on the elevator. Now is not the time to get out to go into silver, which is waiting to go up. We know silver will go up. But if it's hot, it's like if red's hitting in roulette, you don't get off of red. Well, black's going to start hitting. No. You wait till red finishes. Then you get into black. So I'm not selling any gold at all for now to buy silver. I'll take money I'm getting and buy silver instead of gold. Now that's the other option. Well, I could go buy another a quarter ounce of gold or a tenth of an ounce of gold. I could do that, but you know what? I'm going to buy 10 ounces of silver today. Again, I'm not working, so it makes it a little bit more difficult. You want to have enough to pay your bills without cashing your gold in. Now, that's why I have a reserve in the safe, not in the bank. But the bank will offer me 9%. I'll never forget this idiot. We'll give you 9% in an annuity. And after I stop laughing, I go, I don't want to be in money. See, this is the point that these financial planners don't get. They're still keeping you in money. You're still on the Titanic. Even though the water's coming in, you're still in the Titanic. Get off the fucking Titanic, which is what I did. I told them to fuck off and went into gold and silver. And I said, I'm taking the money and then going buying 5 more ounces of gold. I don't want to be in a derivative or in a annuity. Take your paper crap and get out of my face. I know it's so you can make commissions. Then he asked me some economic question on elastic, and I go, you're talking Keynesian. I don't speak Keynesian. It's like talking Chinese. I don't speak Chinese. So if you're talking Keynesian, I don't know what you're saying, nor do I want to. That always confused me, elastic and inelastic. I know it's a rubber band, and I think it's goods that can stretch. They're elastic, and then the inelastic ones you can't. You won't buy, something like that. I don't know. I think if you need, like, oil is elastic because no matter what the price is, you need it. But if stakes go very high, they're inelastic. You won't pay for it. I think that's the concept, but I hate talking Keynesian. So basically, we already know it in a different way of free markets and everything. So anyway, 2907 and 3195, and let's see what's happening in sports, and then we'll get back to economics. Let's see. NFL news. I'm on Yahoo. The mock drafts. Super Bowls draws a record of 126 million viewers. I always wonder if that's real or not. How do they know that I watched it? Like, seriously. So I had it on. And then I switched to the Munsters on these 5-minute commercials. So you never know. How do they know I'm on? I think that's bullshit. I don't know how they can tell. Super Bowl recap. Eagles deny Chiefs three-peat. Duh. Well, because of the defense. Super Bowl halftime performer. I don't know who this guy is, and I never watched the Super Bowl halftime. I'm watching a football game. If I want to watch a concert, I go to YouTube and I turn on whatever musician I want to watch. What do Super Bowl results tell us about Eagles and Chiefs? Tells us the Eagles have a great defense and the Chiefs have Mahomes, and it doesn't tell us really anything. It just shows you how good their Eagle defense is, which we already knew, so it doesn't tell us shit. Eagles defense didn't like Chiefs three-peat. Well, I don't think that's why they played like they did. They're just all from Georgia, and they played great. Eagles open as Super Bowl 50 favorites after blowout, which is the most ridiculous thing in the world because you have no idea the teams for next year. You have no idea the injuries. What if Barkley gets hurt? Hurts ain't going to do shit for you. What if the defense, if Jalen Carter gets hurt? So there's all these injuries. As far as anybody getting better, maybe it's Denver and San Diego because they have the defenses. We've seen Buffalo and Baltimore choke over and over. And then we've got in the NFC, well, the Eagles are the best team by far. Maybe the Niners. They got Salah back. They get McCaffrey back. They draft some defense. They need a new head coach. So the Niners are probably the only team that can possibly give them a run. You're going to need a team with a good defense. I don't see Dallas. I don't see Washington needs. They need to draft 3 or 4 good defensive players. Washington. They have the offense, although they could use another receiver or something like that. Let's see. In the West, the Niners, the Rams could be. They have a pretty good defense if they can maybe get. Well, they're letting Cooper Kupp go, so if they get another receiver in the draft, they'll be all right. I don't know who that is. Then they could be all right. We'll go through a mock draft just to laugh at it. Here's how the Eagles crushed Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. It's called defense. Why do you have to tell us how they did it when we can watch it? What's next for Chiefs? They'll be in the Super Bowl next year. What do you mean? What's next for it? Even if they lose Kelsey, they don't need Kelsey. I heard they booed whatchamacallit, Kelsey's girlfriend, whatever her name is, Taylor Swift. I heard they booed her. They showed her on the big board and they booed her. And she says, "What's going on?" And then it was like, "Well, you voted for Kamala Harris." And it's a very dangerous precedent that this country's setting. If you don't agree with somebody, you boo them. It's supposed to be free speech, but they've kind of taken that out. So it shouldn't be a big deal if you like her or you don't like her. But to say she voted for Kamala Harris, I don't know. I personally don't like her. I've never seen her. I'm not a fan. So I couldn't say, but we'll see. The real Super Bowl MVP for the Eagles, Jalen Carter. I agree with that. I don't know how Hurts won it. Maybe the guy who got the pick 6 early should have won it. Jalen Carter should have won it. The Eagle defense should have won it, but not Hurts. That's like Lamar winning the league MVP. Why is he winning the league MVP? Did I miss something? Since when is he the best player in the league? The best player in the league wins playoff games, doesn't choke in those. Super Bowl loss was a Chiefs wake-up call. No, I mean, they're doing fine. They won 2 in a row. Really, it's just replacing Kelsey, but the Eagles figured out Kelsey. They kept the guy on him or 2. So he was never wide open. So he was open once and he dropped the pass, but basically he was covered. And so this is where I question Andy Reid's offensive abilities. Is basically it's Mahomes running around making plays, not Andy Reid. So basically you've got to have a star receiver, not Kelsey, because Kelsey just dances around in a zone. Well, yeah, you just put a guy on him, and now he's not fast. So that's what they did. Yeah, Jalen Hurts MVP, no way. All right, so let's go to this mock draft. 2025 NFL mock draft. Chiefs take offensive lineman. Oh, really? Do you think so? Who's the idiot writing this? Oh my God. Well, the Eagles still need a quarterback. All right, let's go. Tennessee taking Travis Hunter from Colorado is a huge mistake. He's not that good. Where are you going to play him? You're Tennessee. You need a quarterback. You need a running back. To waste the first pick, are you going to put him as cornerback or as wide receiver? Either way, there's a lot better cornerbacks and there's a lot better wide receivers than this guy. If you're taking him because he can do both, that's a huge mistake, especially with the first pick. Now, there's not a lot of great quarterbacks, but, I wouldn't call Cam Ward isn't going to do shit. But if I'm Tennessee, I trade this pick and I go after, I don't know, maybe I get the Texas State quarterback in the second round, or maybe I get Dylan Gabriel is a very good quarterback. I don't take Jackson Dart. I don't like him, but I would go after the Mississippi defensive ends and the Tennessee defensive ends. If I'm Tennessee, I probably would trade the pick, maybe get the 8th or ninth pick and take Gentry, the running back from Boise, or Scatterbo, the running back from Arizona State. You need running. They don't have it. They don't have a quarterback, so they need running to balance it. Terrible pick taking Travis Hunter. He won't do anything. He won't be anything. Cleveland, Cam Ward, big mistake. Cleveland, what happened to Thompson Robinson? Are you going to trade, Myles Garrett? Well, you can get a quarterback. You can trade him to Detroit and get Hooker and get the running back, and then go draft the defensive end from Old Mississippi. That's what I would do. Cam Ward's not an answer. He's not a good quarterback. I don't get this. The New York Giants, Prime Jr., big mistake there. Is he better than Daniel Jones? I'm not sure. He takes a lot of sacks instead of throwing interceptions. He hasn't shown me he's all that. Big games he loses. I question. This is another 3 or 4 years with this bum, and then you got to hire Deion as your coach. So I disagree with this wholeheartedly. He's not the third pick in the draft. There's far many better players than this guy. New England drafting an offensive tackle from LSU. With all that New England needs, this is the last thing they need, is to waste the number 4 pick in the draft with an offensive tackle. No, they have not found. Drake May is not their answer. He just wants to run. Emmitt Smith made a comment about quarterbacks that run, that you need a running game, and that quarterbacks who run complement the running game. However, you still need a quarterback who can throw. Running quarterbacks don't win. Even Hurts. Okay, Hurts ran a little bit, but he made some good passes. Mahomes makes passes. Joe Burrow. Those are your winning teams. Josh Allen throws the ball. He can run. He needs to slide. He doesn't slide. Lamar, we see he can't. He runs and they lose. So this is the point. So I would still, there's not big quarter. I would go after one of these defensive studs from Ole Miss or Tennessee. Those guys you got to get, or they got to get Scatterbo or Gentry. Why would you waste it on an offensive tackle? San Diego did that, and they're still paying the price. They could have had Brock Bowers. They drafted an offensive guard from Notre Dame who got hurt before the first game, didn't play the whole year. How did that work out? Oh, yeah, and Brock Bowers went to Oakland where he caught 100 passes with no quarterback. Terrible draft. Jacksonville, Mason Graham, defensive lineman from Michigan. Again, they need a quarterback. They need a running back. With the 5th pick, I would go after Scatterbo or Gentry before I'd take a defensive lineman from Michigan. A guy like this is a dime a dozen. He's not all that. And Michigan gave up a lot of points. So I don't see this really helping Jacksonville a little bit, but they have great needs at quarterback and running back. Again, it's a tough draft because there's not quarterbacks, but I may be okay, but I'd still go after the Ole Miss guys first. Oakland, Will Johnson, cornerback from Michigan. Let's see what they do with quarterback. Will Johnson, okay, is he good? I don't know. He had a pick 6 on my guy, Mikey Keene. That's about all I know. He seems to be good. Oakland needs a quarterback, needs a running back. Again, it's hard for me to not take Scatterbo or Gentry in this level. Will Johnson, I think you could get in the 2nd, 3rd round, something comparable from LSU, from Georgia. It's just hard for me to waste this pick. Everybody's going after Michigan like they had a really good defense last year, which I still question. Um, so I'm not really sure here. I think with what Oakland needs, and they got Brock Bowers now, they need the defensive line help. It just shows you if you can't rush the quarterback, you're screwed. And look what happens when you can, like Philadelphia did. The New York Jets, Abdul Carter, edge, Penn State. This I don't mind because he's an edge, much better than an offensive lineman and a cornerback. So this guy should be drafted higher. Like Tennessee, if they took him, I wouldn't mind, or the Mississippi or Tennessee guys. Those are the guys you got to draft in the first round. So I don't mind. He's okay. I don't know how good he is. They didn't play anybody against in the playoff game. Had a decent game against, what was it, SMU or something, but I don't know. They gave up a lot of points to Notre Dame, who doesn't score a lot, so hard to say. But this is a good pick, but the Jets need a quarterback if Aaron Rodgers isn't there. And really, they need a coach. Hey, Pat, how are you today? Well, we got over 2,900. We got to 2,940 at 11 o'clock at night, and then it fell back. When I woke up, I was expecting to see 3,000, and I saw 2,900, but it's kind of making its move back to 2,908 and silver. But let me just finish up with the sports, and we'll get to that. Carolina, Tetarina McMillan, wide receiver, Arizona. Now you're going to, let's give Steve Young some receivers. Well, you got Adam Thielen. I'm sure your backups are good. Again, this is a wasted pick. They need defense. They need a quarterback. They need running backs. I don't like this. Let's take receivers to go with that. I don't understand that. Pat, major shortages of gold reported in South Korea. Is South Korea a big exporter of gold? I know you are in Singapore in the Golden Triangle there. We'll get back to the draft in a minute. Well, I think what's happening, Pat, is the whole point is that this is you know how I talk football, the football tickets, right? That's what Luke's brother does, right? So at first the tickets come out cheap. Let's say they're $300 for the Super Bowl, $500 for the Super Bowl for all the tickets. All right, so they're bought, and then now there's no more. Now the secondary market comes in and says, "Well, I want to go, and I'll give you $2,000." And you go, "Hell yeah! I paid $500, I get $2,000. I probably bought them just to sell them on the secondary market." So they end up doing that, and I think the correlation with gold and silver is that I think what's going to happen is the gold will is basically done, right? Okay, all the seats have been bought. All the gold is bought. Even when I went last Thursday to my gold guy, or Friday, he had 1 ounce, an Austrian, the Philharmonics that we love, and he had 1 Panda. Then he had 2 ounces of the bars you get at Costco. Then he had 3/4 ounces and 1/10 of an ounce. And that was all he had. He didn't have, normally he's got 4 or 5 American ounces or whatever. He didn't have that. And keep in mind, he only gets it when people sell to him because people need money. I don't think people are profit taking it, although they could be. But people, they need money. They go sell their ounce, and then he has an ounce he can sell me. But if people don't sell to him, he doesn't have gold to sell to me. I think he can get his hands on it. We don't know the weight, but I could ask him. I think I'm going to go buy 10 ounces of silver today and get that. But that's what happens. So, I'm looking at that as we're getting to the point there is no more gold. And we see in London, we know the U.S., all they're doing is buying gold to pay off the derivatives because they're taking delivery. So when we do all our short derivatives, people want it. And they say, okay, I'm going to take that gold that you just did the derivative on, and they got to settle. And they don't have the gold. So that's what the US was doing, was getting gold to pay off the derivatives. So it's out. And then keep in mind the demand with all these BRICS countries wanting gold, and Russia and China and India want it. So the demand never stops. And especially under $3,000, it's a joke. I mean, that's their figure. And I think it's probably at 3,500 now. So any gold under 3,500, these people are buying it. And I think it'll just keep going and going. And then as we get to the secondary market, then it keeps going and going. And then eventually they come out with the gold-backed currency, and the dollar is gone, because why would you want the dollar when you can have gold-backed currency? So I'm sure Russia and China are going to come out with that soon, but now you can see it exploding. This is the great reset without a reset. This is just demand driving the price up. It's now, like I said, it's now 29.07. We should see 3,000 by the end of the week. I thought we were going to see it last night. It was 29.40. I'm like, holy shit. It was up like $80 yesterday. But see, it's not profit taking. Nobody's taking physical. Nobody's selling it. What happens is when it goes up like that, they automatically do the derivative. They do the put option where they want the price to go down. That's an automatic because it just jumped. And so they can get in, and then it comes down because they just bought it all. And then it kind of and then now it's starting to bounce back. It got down to 28.88, and now it's back to 29, and it'll go back to 29.40 or 29.50. But that's just the reaction. That's just the no-brainer of you're going to get a derivative on that until we end the derivatives. And when we end the derivatives, you won't see that. You'll just see it keep going up and up and up. As long as there's demand for the product, price isn't an issue in gold. Gold's a different story than steak, right? Or the ribs. Let's go to the ribs. Well, I want ribs, but if they're $45 a slab, I'll get chicken instead. But what you have with gold is that is the substitute. I want gold, I'm going to get gold, and no matter what the price is. I went in, I paid $8.22 for the quarter ounce. I could have cared. I knew it would be around $800, $20, fine, who cares? I wanted the quarter ounce because I knew that there's no substitute for gold. That's the beauty of gold. That's why we got it. There is no substitute. It's the substitute for the dollar, but I would never sell gold to get in the dollar or for Bitcoin or anything. The only thing I could do it would be for a Rolex or a Mantle card. I could give some gold for that. But right now, the gold, there is no substitute. And that's why the price will just keep going to the moon, because you have to have it when your dollar's worthless. So gold reported in South Korea. So let me know what else you see, Pat. I know we saw it in Britain's out. The U.S. is out, really. They'll try to make it like we have gold. We don't. But I think Switzerland's just a refinery. Most of Europe probably doesn't have gold. Well, I think Italy, France, and Germany does have gold in their banks, not necessarily their central banks. And I think we know China and Russia and India do. And I'm sure Saudi does. I'm sure Dubai does. So I think those countries have it. We will see. But anyway, that's going on. Gold fever is broken out in China, big queues and waiting lines. Well, there you go. So running by your gold and silver now, and so that will make silver jump, because if there's, as gold gets so expensive, and the reason you're buying gold is to get out of dollars, then you go, what's the other lifeboat? And it'll be silver. And that'll be you'll start seeing lines for that. But it's good to see lines in China. That's a good thing. That tells you from an economic standpoint, huge demand, which tells you huge price. And COMEX just can't deal with it because they're going to buy it. China keeps taking the delivery off of COMEX. That as soon as COMEX is out, that's the football ticket. Okay, we sold them all out. Now you got to go secondary market, and that's what's going to be with COMEX, gold, and silver. Once they're out, then it becomes secondary market, and then prices go up because there's no substitute for them. You've got to get them, and nobody gives a fuck about Tomahawk missiles and solar panels. Silver's money first and foremost, not so the military could use it. Well, the military will either have to find a different metal or pay a lot more for silver. And apparently with the government, what do they care how much they pay for it? They don't have a budget. Pat, not much time left to buy. Very soon it's unobtainable. But my fear is that's why I buy so much now, because I know you're not, if you do get it, it won't be unattainable. It'll be unattainable at these prices. This is what you must realize. At 2,900, 3,000, you're not going to get it. It'll cost you 3,500, 4,000 to get, because look at me. I've been buying since 1,700, 1,800. I'm not releasing it for $3,000. Probably when it hits 10, I'll think about selling an ounce if I have something to do with the money. Otherwise, I'm keeping it. And I think that's the big key to what you have going on here, is that nobody wants to sell it. Nobody like us, and certainly not the governments who have all the gold, certainly not going to sell their gold. It's too cheap to sell. So this is where COMEX is backfiring in JP Morgan. Instead of buying it, what the fuck are they doing with derivatives? Buy the fucking gold. They should be doing call options, not put options. Call up, put down. And they should be calling and going, I want the higher price, and letting the thing run, and then they can make all their money on that. Instead, we're going to do a derivative at 29.40. We'll do a put. What are you, nuts? Let it run, you idiot. So I don't know why they still are still trying to push back. These are probably the stupidest people I've ever, you'd ever meet in a bank, are these guys shorting gold at this point for exactly the reasons Pat's saying. So there's not much time left to buy at this price. There's certainly 200,000 tons of gold sitting around that can be bought at the right price, but the right price is not going to be 3,000. So that's why I bought a quarter ounce instead of 10 ounces of silver last week. Silver I'll go buy now, and I know I need to buy silver because we know exactly the same thing is going to happen in silver. So get your silver when it's sitting at 31. But the gold price, it's not that it's pricey. It's very limited. It's going in and finding it, and then you don't care what the price is, and there's no substitute for it. Gold's the one thing that you don't care what the price is. You're going to, if you can afford it, you're buying it. If it's another $50, like, I don't care if it's, if I go buy it tomorrow and it's it's $29.20, so he's going to sell it for $3,025. I don't care. I can buy another ounce. I buy another ounce, and that's the game. It doesn't matter how much it costs, but that's why you load up on it. Right? We're 5 steps ahead of the game, so we're going to start doing that with silver, where Ron goes, well, should I sell my gold for silver? And the answer is no. Gold's running. Let gold run. This is not the time to sell it for silver. Try to take money that you can get to buy the silver with, because the money's worthless. We know that. So if they're stupid enough to take monopoly money for silver, thank you very much, especially at $30 an ounce. What a joke. So my advice is to buy as much silver as you can right now. The gold, as Pat's saying, has left the station. I hope you've already got your ounces. I bought a lot. I wish I would have bought more, but circumstances happen. But that's okay. I'm fairly set, and then I can still go buy more silver at 30 an ounce. It's not an issue. So that's really where I'm at, and we'll go from there. But when it comes down to it, once it's gone, it'll still be there. It'll just be there at a higher price. And that's what's happening. But as long as you have guys running stores that really don't know what they're doing, it's okay. So, like I say, in Michigan, there are gold stores you can go to that have, and like mine, he's got 3 stores, so fine for me. Like today, I'm going to go buy some silver. Like I said, I'll just buy 10 ounces, try to get it. I'm close to 700. I'll get the 700 is my goal because I'm not working, but I'll try to get that. And you just, so I don't play poker. Well, I'm going to make a whole lot more money buying $300 worth of silver than playing $300 at poker. I could get burned at poker. I can't get burned in silver. So it's really a no-brainer where I want to put my money in. So thanks for the info, Pat. But yeah, I see COMEX blowing up very soon. They just won't be able to contain it. And when they do these stupid derivatives into a highly demanded product, so gold's super demanded, and they're still doing derivatives as if it's not. And these people should all be fired, and the algorithm should be blown up. I mean, it's all over. I mean, the dollar's gone. I mean, to think that you have a dollar, and then I love Bloomberg, where all these CEOs come on and they don't even understand the dollar's gone. Like when I left, when they told me, well, okay, the assignments, we eliminated the position, I just laughed. And the guy, the HR manager, said, well, I'll just keep stacking gold. I go, if you got dollars, you're done. They're not worth anything. They're not worth anything now, but down the road, I mean, if I was all of you, I'd be looking for a new job because you won't have a job here. This company won't exist. Nobody will be able to buy any of the things you're selling. What are you kidding me? So that's where it's at. I mean, they keep selling parts of their company, and then people are just selling it. So they buy the company that break off the parts. Who wants to work at that kind of place? I don't know. It's kind of silly. Anyway, so yes, not much time. It's gone. We can see gold 2907 on its way to 3,500. Luke and Bobby, we're going to Capitol Grill very soon at 3,000. Anybody else is very welcome. We're not sure which one, the one in Pittsburgh, Detroit, or Tampa. We definitely want to meet Bobby already. I've met Luke in the airport. Okay, let's go back to the draft. And so Carolina wants McMillan, a wide receiver from Arizona. I don't get it. Bryce Young still sucks. So I don't really understand this draft. Again, you don't waste a pick with the wide receiver in the first round. Plus, it's near the end, the last 5 or 6 picks. But in the 8th pick, you need your defense. You need defense. I mean, look what Philadelphia is doing with their defense, getting all these guys from Georgia. And some idiots are drafting guys from Alabama, which we know who. And then here, this guy. I didn't realize Carolina with the 32 defense is ready to draft wide receivers for Bryce Young, who can't throw the ball anyway. So he's terrible. New Orleans, Michael Williams, that's from Georgia. He's good from Georgia. That makes sense. New Orleans, it always is good to draft defense and get your defense going. Good pick. I don't know what's going on with the Ole Miss guys and the Tennessee guys, although I do like the Georgia. But where are they? Unless they're not going to get drafted, they might stay in college one more year. And again, I'm like, why are these college players playing 6 years in college? And this whole NIL thing where they're supposedly paying these guys $1 million to play college ball. I mean, college is not professional; it's amateur. I don't get that whole thing. Chicago Bears, Josh Simmons, offensive tackle, Ohio State, another wasted pick. Here, I would definitely take Scatterboo, or they need a running back. So here's where Scatterboo or Gentry would fit in perfectly, or the Iowa running back. This guy you can get in the 4th round from Penn State, Notre Dame, Michigan. This is a wasted pick. One offensive talent with the 10th pick. This is just more waste. They don't know what they're doing. The Niners, same thing. A guard from Missouri. I didn't know the Niners were all that loaded. Now I do know their left tackle is pretty weak. He keeps getting injured. Williams from Oklahoma. So it does make sense to get him, but now with the 11th pick, second round, third round, that's what I would go after. A guy who can play offensive line, which is, all teams in college football, the big 25, 30 teams have good offensive linemen. So Notre Dame, Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan, Alabama, Georgia. I mean, why waste the pick on this? I don't really understand it. Dallas, Ashton Gentry. There you go. From Boise. They need to trade Dak and use Cooper Rush. He's fine. You get rid of that contract. Gentry, they need a running back that'll help. That's not a bad pick for Dallas. They have CeeDee Lamb. Their defense, they have Micah Parsons. So, it's probably only because Gentry's so good. I agree with this pick. He had 2,500 yards last year. Miami, again, an offensive guard tackle from Texas. Really, this is what you need. You still need a quarterback because you got Tagovailoa, and you need running backs. And I don't know what you're doing with Tyreek Hill. Waddle's not that good, and then you need defense, and you're taking an offensive guard. Whoever's running Miami has their heads way up their ass. Indianapolis, Tyler Warren, tight end, Penn State. He's very good. They need defense. They need a quarterback. It's a square peg in a round hole. This guy's not the answer. He's very good, but I could see him going to Denver or Cincinnati, but not Indy. Atlanta, Kenneth Grant, defensive tackle, Michigan. This makes sense. You've got Penix. Add to your defense. I'd still rather see the Ole Miss and Tennessee guys, but Kenneth Grant from Michigan, okay, that'll help. You can maybe plug up the middle against running. They still need a lot of defense, Atlanta, but they found their quarterback. Arizona, Jalen Walker, edge from Georgia. Perfect. They need a good defensive players from Georgia. Makes a lot of sense. If you're going to go defense, you go like this, the edges from Georgia or Ole Miss or Tennessee. You don't take a cornerback from Michigan or a linebacker from Michigan. That doesn't make sense. Cincinnati, Walter Nolan, defensive tackle, Ole Miss. Here's your Ole Miss guy. Perfect pick for Cincy. You got Burrow. You got Chase. You need a running back. And then, so I would either take Scatterboo, but it makes more sense. They need defense. You've already got Burrow and Chase. Seattle, Tyler Booker, offensive lineman, Alabama. Terrible pick. I mean, what am I going to say here? This is a horrible pick. First of all, he's from Alabama. Secondly, you got the 18th pick. You're taking an offensive lineman. Really? With Seattle's defensive problems? You can get this guy in the third round. You don't need him there. And he probably won't even start this guy from Alabama. Tampa Bay, Jaheed Campbell, linebacker, Alabama. I like they're getting defense. I don't like he's from Alabama. Denver, Shemar Stewart, defensive lineman, A&M. I like the pick because they need defense. You got Bo Nix now. You have some good receivers. They do need running backs, but it never hurts to have another good defensive lineman. I don't know how good this guy is, but it'll be good. This is a nice pick for them. Pittsburgh, Mbigwa from Ohio State. I think their defense slipped last year. Russell Wilson's fine. They do need receivers. The guy from Georgia, Pickens, keeps dropping the ball, so I don't know what's going on with him. But I don't mind it. I don't know if this guy's the best receiver out there to take, but they do need a good receiver. San Diego, Shaban Revel, cornerback from ECU, East Carolina, makes absolutely no sense. Chargers defense needs a blue chip player at cornerback. Well, this ain't it. It might not be a better option at this point than Rebel. He missed all of last season with the torn ACL. Oh my God. Oh, but he's 6'3" and 193 and speed to grow into a number one. Does he have speed after tearing his ACL? Why would you draft this guy in the first round? And the one thing San Diego doesn't need is a cornerback. What San Diego needs is some running and receivers that you gave up on, maybe some offensive line, but defense is not their problem. They're one of the few, them in Denver, who really don't need defense as much as they maybe, offensive linemen in the third round, but a wide receiver or running back fits what they need. Green Bay, Josh Cornelly, offensive tackle, Oregon. Yeah, I don't think so. You need defense, Green Bay, and you need wide receivers. So I'm not sure about an offensive tackle. Buffalo, Luther Burden from Missouri. Now that makes sense. So why wouldn't Green Bay take this guy? Wouldn't San Diego take this guy? Pittsburgh, he's much better than Ugbagba. So it's a good pick for Buffalo. They still need defense. You're not beating KC with this guy. Houston, Colston Loveland from Michigan. No, Houston has a good defense. They still need a quarterback. They need some runners, and they do need receivers. So this is okay. I'm not sure how good Loveland is in the pros. He was good in the weak Big Ten. He disappeared last year, got injured, but I like Houston's defense. So Houston should focus on a quarterback and running backs. Look at Charles Barkley. Look at Barkley goes to Philadelphia, and they make the Super Bowl, and they win the Super Bowl. So I think Houston needs really more of a running back here than a tight end. The Rams, Matthew Golden, wide receiver, Texas, maybe to replace Cooper Kupp. I think they got offensive line issues, and probably running back. The running back's okay. You could upgrade there with Pukanuka. You don't really need a wide receiver in the first round, but okay. Matthew Golden, 47 catches for 738 yards. This is a guy you want to draft in the first round. Yeah, I don't think so. Baltimore Ravens, Malaki Starks, safety from Georgia. You still need a quarterback, Baltimore. You've got Henry. You need some receivers who catch the ball. You got to get rid of your tight end. And this guy's a safety. I don't think it can hurt to have. Their defense is pretty weak, Baltimore. Detroit, again, I question. Here's the thing. Mike Green, an edge from Marshall, but Washington's going to take James Pierce, the edge from Tennessee. So why isn't Detroit taking the edge from Tennessee? This guy's a stud. I don't know who this guy is from Marshall. Now, they do need an edge rusher or some defensive line help. I'm not sure this guy from Marshall is the number one first-round pick. Small school, and here's Washington. Paris pass rush first style will actually fit well. Yeah, he's very good, this guy from Tennessee. The Lions should take this guy, not leave it for Washington. But they're both good picks for these teams. They both need defenses. Minnesota from Buffalo, Derek Harmon, defensive tackle, Oregon. I don't understand this. The Vikings have a great defense. Harmon gives a chance to find that impact defensive tackle. Stupid pick. The Vikings need a quarterback, and they need running back. They got Jefferson. Maybe they need offensive line. They sure look like it against Detroit. They need a new offensive coordinator who knows what a blitz looks like and how to throw little swing passes and get rid of the ball quickly. So Minnesota, they need offense, not defense. Another incredibly stupid pick. Kansas City, Marcus Mabeau, offensive tackle guard from Purdue. Okay, I like that they need an offensive lineman. I wouldn't waste the first round with it, especially he got out of Purdue. I think that's absolutely ridiculous. So I again, KC needs offensive linemen, but in third, fourth, fifth round, not and especially got out of Purdue. Oh, did they have a team last year? And Philadelphia, an offensive tackle from Minnesota. I don't understand that. End of a dynasty. No. What's next for the Chiefs? They still have a dynasty. If Kelsey leaves, then Kelsey leaves. But put it this way, I would never draft. I would never date Taylor Swift if she liked Camilla Harris. We would never have talked 5 minutes. Let's see. Now let's look at sports. Let's look at anything in I don't want college women. I want college football. Here it is. Let's see what's going on in college football. Ryan Day gets contract extended through 2031. Guy can't beat Michigan. I'm not sure he's going to last that long. You can't beat Michigan. You've lost your offensive coordinator. I see Ohio State choking again next year. Not much college football. Looking at the stats, there's not a lot of quarterbacks that have good stat numbers that I looked at for the end of the year. Very small group over 30. I don't think we had anybody at 40, maybe one. No, that was in there. That was Joe Burrow. We didn't have too much. Cam Ward's not good. He wasn't good at Washington State. He goes to Miami, and now all of a sudden he's the number one pick when he wasn't even draftable last year. I question that. It was a good system, but had they had Tyler Van Dyke there, he would have lit it up. I'm sure that Van Dyke with the knee injury, I don't know. Cam Rising with his knee, two very good quarterbacks that are just heavily injured. The Oregon quarterback we like. Basically, all the GMs do is they look at the All-American list and they just go off of it and draft it without knowing if the guy's really an All-American. How do you really say an offensive lineman's an All-American? You can't. You got to know, like we dig in, and who was their competition? Who did they play? Last year, Michigan had no schedule, should never have even been in the playoff. This year, they had a much better schedule, and they lost 5 games, and that's my point. So it depends on the competition, as we know, to really figure this stuff out. All right, let's get more into economics then. Not much with sports. I will do basketball when the playoffs come. I do not Really, it's hard to get into the 3-point shooting contest of what the NBA has become. If you are wanting to bet basketball now, I would suggest, again, you look at the totals. You figure out the teams, are they over or under? And then from there, you go on and figure out what to do with it. So, as we know, Detroit and Baltimore and Green Bay and Washington were over teams. Philly was kind of an under team. San Diego, Denver were more under teams. So as you do that in football, you do the same in basketball. Who's scoring? Who has the good offense? And you do it by points per game, and then who has the good defense, and then who has both. And the teams that have both, you bet on. The teams with good offenses and weak defenses, you bet overs. The teams that don't score but have good defenses, you bet under. And you just let the points tell you. But then you got to think third dimensionally, and you got to go and see who are they playing. So if Detroit, now I haven't watched the Detroit game. I couldn't name a player on the Pistons since old Isaiah left. But basically, what are their numbers? And then, well, let's take a look. Let's go into basketball here. The NBA. We should be able to get totals. Let's see on standings. No, I hit standings. I didn't hit news. Okay, so we can see. So let's see what we got. Boston's the number one team, 117 points, 108 against. I don't know what you get in the NBA. Who's like in the NFL, like once you hit 30, you're an over team, and then the defense, you want under 20. So, and if it's over 25, they're just an over team. That's the NFL. Now let's look at what's going on in the NBA. So the Knicks 111, Philly 113, Brooklyn 111, Toronto 116, 112, let's see, 120, Chicago, the Bears 120, and 105 in Orlando, 121 with Washington. That's the Eastern. Western. 107 San Diego, 108 Houston, 119 New Orleans, 104 Oklahoma, 108 Minnesota. That's pretty much like football. The biggest difference, Oklahoma City's 118, 104, 13 difference. Memphis is 123, 115. Then you got a team like New Orleans is 110, 119. So New Orleans looks like the 110 is probably, here's Portland 109, 114. They're probably the under team, right? The over team. Denver looks like an over team. 121, they give up 115. So that would be an idea of an over team. Let's see if there's others that stick out. Dallas 115, 113. San Antonio 113, 114. Sacramento 116, 115. Let's go back to the East. A lot of lower scoring. Brooklyn 105, Philly 109. The New York Knicks 117, 111. Cleveland 122, 112. Indy 115, 115. Milwaukee 114, 113. Detroit 112, 113. Miami 110, 110. They look like an under team. Orlando definitely 104, 105. And then Charlotte 106, Washington 108. So Washington looks like the worst team. They're 108, 121 points against. I think they are the winners of the worst team. New Orleans 110, 119, and that's it. So yeah, that is the worst team. So all you can really do is look at them and see that they're pretty bad. But there's not the big differentiation in points. There's a few low 105 defenses. Everybody gets over 100 points. Back when the Pistons won with Isaiah, it would be like they'd score 80 and give up 70. Those were very good unders. The over-under would be 150, and they wouldn't even come close. It'd be like 70 to 59. I love those games. So that's what you're looking at. The best team looks like it's Oklahoma, 43-9. Denver's got 35 wins. Houston's got 35 wins. And then the Lakers at 32 with LeBron and LeBron Jr. What the fuck's LeBron Jr.? He can't travel. He's got to study for school. I mean, that's crazy. In the East, Boston with 38. The Knicks with 34. Cleveland 43. They're the best. Miami with only 25. Atlanta and Orlando 26. So the best team in the East is clearly Cleveland. And then Boston, then New York. And that's it. There's only 3 teams with anything. So it's pretty pathetic. You're betting on a bunch of bad teams. You'd have to study it. What I don't like is the confusion with all this FanDuel, BetMGM. They shouldn't not be part of the game. That's ridiculous, because how fair are these games? Between the refs fixing the games and the players fixing the games, it's a very difficult game to bet, because you're not getting real. You're getting a bunch of bullshit, basically. As far as the the lines and everything, you got to, there's different variables. There's playing back-to-back games. There's going on the West Coast for 6 games. Things that don't happen in football. They do happen in baseball, but not in football. But baseball, you're betting the pitcher. You got Verlander, he's pitching every 5th day. It doesn't matter. Here, the team's the team, and then you got to worry, is the guy playing? Well, they're going to rest the guy because he might be tired. He's only a professional athlete making $15 million. He needs a rest. He can't. It's so hard to play basketball. Oh my God. So basketball is a very dangerous game to bet. Be careful with all these fucking what are they? What kind of bets are they? The prop bets. You got to be out of your mind to bet prop bets. You got to be out of your mind to play money lines. So if you played money line in the Super Bowl, did you fucking need it? If you like Philly, you just lay the 110 and you get 1 point or 1.5. Why would you do a money line? Are you out of your fucking minds? Either they're going to win or lose. KC, why would you do a money line? They're laying 1 point. Just pick the winner of the game, and it was a 1 point spread. Why on earth would you take a money line in that game? Why would you take a money line in any game? Oh, well, it's a 14 point. Alabama's 14 over Tennessee Tech. I'm going to money line Alabama because I think they'll win. Dude, you shouldn't be betting if that's how you think that you can't comprehend the spread. You shouldn't be betting. Go buy gold and silver. It'd be a lot better. The prop bets are just a joke. Barkley, I don't think covered. He barely got anything. I know G wanted to take Kareem Hunt anytime touchdown, and I warned her not against this defense. And I said Mahomes will throw some touchdowns, and he did, but I wouldn't play Kareem Hunt. Where are you getting that from? You cannot play players against very good defenses, which we know Philly had, and we know KC had it. And Barkley did not score a touchdown in the game. So, these good coaches aren't stupid. So Spagnuolo took away Barkley, which is what I said he would do, and he did. And Philly took Kelsey away, which I knew they would do, and they pressured Mahomes, which I knew they would do. That's why we bet Philly. I did think KC would win. I didn't think it would be that bad for Mahomes, but I knew he'd have trouble, and I knew they were not blowing out Philly. So I was happy that Philly was the dog, and then the over was easy. We had that early fourth quarter, and then they piled on with 3 more touchdowns. But I had 57, and they scored 62 in a total 48 game. So we're laying 42. That's what you do. You tease the total, you tease the dogs, you get it over 7, you do stuff like that. But to do prop bets, how many yards, what color's the Gatorade, how long is the national anthem? Just give me your money and I'll buy gold and silver for you. And that's it. I mean, if you're going to do that and you have the money to do that, then go buy silver. Why would you not go buy silver if you can do that? So it really makes no sense. Really, really stupid. Anyway, so that's kind of my thoughts on that. And we will see. And basically, that's what you try to do. I think right now, when I hear people, I don't have money for silver at $30 an ounce, I just say, you're going to be in you're going to be in a lot of trouble if you don't have $30 for silver. What I'm finding, though, a lot of people who are saying that have their 401ks, and they're extremely scared to cash it in because they're going to have to pay taxes, but they don't realize. So you got a $500,000 401k. So you liquidate it and you put it into your account, and then you're going to buy gold and silver with it. So you pay tax with part of the money. How much interest are you getting on your 401k? Number one. Luke's friend was, I get the matching, and then he got fired. So yeah, you're not getting anything matching. You don't realize it's worthless. This is the concept people are not getting about what's happening now is the dollar's worthless. It's an easy concept because if you print and print and print, of course, it's worthless. Why is this a hard argument to get out of it? What is so hard about this? So, I mean, that's really the point I take away from it is it's worthless. And what are you doing? And, I just can't comprehend why that's such a difficult thing. I did it 3 years ago. I did it. It was a no-brainer. It was like I can't keep my money in dollars because I know it's going to go. Let's see, gold 29.03, silver 31.90. That's good. Let's check in on Daria. I don't know. Daria was on at noon. She didn't respond to me. She doesn't like to respond when she's sick like that. Sophie, okay. What the fuck is this? Anyway. Anyway, so we see gold 29.04. Hey, 29.05. All right. As soon as I look at it, it goes up. You must understand the dollar's going out. I don't really quite get why you don't. So here Pat comes on. He says, geez, gold fever's broken out in China, big queues and waiting lines. South Korea, there's major shortages of gold reported in South Korea. So this is important information. He's there and he lives in Singapore. He's telling you what's going on. There's huge demand, and so what do you think is going to happen? Well, the dollar is going to go out because there's huge demand for this. This is obvious. This is what's happening. So really, you just scratch your head trying to figure out what part of I want to keep my money in a 401k don't you get? We're not the national power. We're not number one. We're not Georgia, right? We're not number one. We can say we're number one, but that was because of the petrodollar, which is no longer there. Any Anybody can buy oil, and Saudi Arabia doesn't even want dollars for oil. They want gold for oil, and that's coming. And all the BRICS are all buying gold. They're not buying dollars, so they're all dumping dollars. If you take demand away, are you still comfortable having a dollar that nobody wants? Well, we're the U.S. A big fucking deal. So were the Romans, and so were the Brits, and so were the French, and so were the Spanish. Their teams were also number one. And how did that end up? Yeah, we're number one, and we're not number one anymore. China will be number one, or Russia, because of their gold, not because of their politics, not because of anything else, not because of their economy. It's because they have 80,000 tons of gold, and according to Pat here, gold fever's broken out in China. Big cues. I'm gonna copy this. Just good things to know. But that you've got to be able to correlate, and if A happens, B happens, C happens. Like I say, the Titanic hits the iceberg, and the water comes in, the boat sinks. Get on a lifeboat. Well, if there's huge demand for gold in China and South Korea is out of gold, everybody's buying it. That means the demand for gold's high, so the price is not high enough, and the demand for dollars is down because everybody's buying gold. Nobody wants dollars. So therefore, the dollar doesn't have a value if it's not worth it. We know it's lost 99% of its value. So you don't think it'll lose the other 1%, is what you're saying. Okay. And it's just a joke. I mean, what are you kidding me? So you have that, which is a problem. And you've got $500,000 in a 401k. Okay. So what are you thinking? Are you getting interest on your 401k? Are the stocks going to keep going up? No. Is the stock market going to crash? More than likely, but well, I don't know. You don't see it crashing now. So if it's not doing it now, it's not going to do it. I mean, it's insanity. You've got to read the clues. Companies are in trouble. We're in a recession. We're probably in a depression. More people are laying off than hiring. I don't see where that's going to lead to anything positive. I don't see where, okay, so some of the stocks are global, but all the dollars in every country except Zimbabwe with the ZIG are not backed by gold. So nobody's going to buy your product. The advertising, I don't know. So your Facebook, are you really worth, where do you make your money on? You get advertisers. Well, yeah, but when nobody buys their product, they're not going to advertise. You're advertising where? Venezuela and Zimbabwe and places where nobody has money to buy your products. As Europe starts going out, and are you really buying products in China from what you see ads on in Facebook? I think the whole thing's ridiculous. I think companies are realizing they need to advertise because they're all losing money, and yet I don't think it's helping them. It's very, very strange. So I don't see a big help here. I would say to be careful. So if you're one of these non-believers, okay, well, if I have 500 grand, maybe I take 250 out pay my tax, buy gold and silver with that, and leave 250 in there. Okay, so if I want to play that game where I don't believe, then all right, at least why do you want 100% risk? Because we know the stock market's crashing. Oh, no, it won't. Oh, really? Do you understand what a stock market is? Do you understand what a stock is? These are companies that need sales. They need revenue. They need income. They need earnings. And if they don't have earnings, if they miss their numbers, their stock gets crushed. And we know it's been protected, but here's Trump going, we're cutting costs. We're cutting costs. And they're going all over. And they're going to the military, and they're going to different sections about you can't work from home, or they found that US aid, oh wait, they're scamming all this money. And then I was watching something else, and this other department, and I'm like, yeah, we're not stupid. We know they've been taking off the top. We understand that because it's been a free fall. That's why we don't have a gold standard. So all these corrupt politicians can steal the money. We get that. Or if you don't, you should get it. And so he's going to go after these companies, and hopefully he lowers taxes and adds tariffs. But the tariffs will hurt these companies. If all of a sudden it costs more to get your parts in, your steel in, and everything else, it's going to affect the car companies. We don't really make a lot here, so I don't know. As far as these banks buying all the houses and then nobody can get a house, I don't really understand that. Probably the dumbest thing to do, but when the derivatives start coming home and they start losing trillions of dollars on their bullion, the bullion banks, they'll be out. Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Chase, they'll all be out because you can't do derivatives on a product going up. You don't short it. You go up with it. Can't fight. So I see all this happening. So people got to realize you're not doing that. So be very careful. So if you got money in stocks, do you want to leave it in stocks? Well, I don't want to pay tax. Okay, I get that, but it's not going to be worth anything. Oh, well, I don't believe that. See, this is what kills me. So what do you believe? And tell me what you believe and why. Why do you believe it's not going to crash when we know it's lost 99% of its value? Because we know the dollar goes down when you print too much of it. And we know they've got a $36 trillion debt. So at what thought process are you going that the dollar won't crash and the stock market won't crash? Because, oh, well, of course, with that kind of reasoning, silly me. So this is the problem. So people are going to lose their ass in it when they don't have to. Just sell half of it. Luke's friend who has $4 million, just sell half of it, sell 2 million and keep the other 2 for whatever reason until that goes to zero. And then you'll have $2 million worth of gold, and then that'll save you. So why don't you want to do that? Why do you not want to be in gold and silver? And why in God's name would you want to be in stocks? It really makes no sense. It just shows you how ignorant people are. I'm sure what they do is they go to their financial planners, and of course, he's going to say, stay in stocks. Oh, the gold doesn't move. Well, it's up to 29 now. What do you mean it doesn't move? Well, silver, that doesn't move. Oh, no, look, it doesn't move. Do you understand why? Do you understand the price fixing at JP Morgan? Do you get that? Oh, no, but it doesn't. I just look at a chart and it doesn't move. So why be in silver? Because it's about to move very, very rapidly because you don't understand what BRICS is and you don't understand the stock market's going to crash and the dollar's crash. So you have to go to gold and silver. So if you don't understand what inflation is, and most people don't, it makes it very many people are going to get totally fucked. And because I think they're listening to their financial planners. I know that lady at work sold silver to get into an annuity. And I'm like, oh my God, what an idiot. But she still didn't listen to me. She said, well, in my lifetime, it's not going to happen. So that's the answer from the financial planner or stockbroker. It won't happen in your lifetime. I'm sure of it because I'm a salesman, and that's what they tell me to say. So it becomes a really strange battle of what's going on. And all you can do is just shake your head at it. and just try to wonder what's going on. So we understand it. That's why you buy gold and silver. But if you don't know, why would you want all your eggs in one basket, meaning the stock market? Why would you want all of them there? Why would you want all your eggs in Bitcoin? Why would you want all your eggs in anything except for gold and silver? Then I can understand all your eggs. But even me, with all my eggs in gold and silver, I still have Mahomes and Bobby Orr and Mickey Mantle and Tom Brady and some Jordans. And, I still have that as a kind of, secondary, which are just by accident because we collected cards instead of gold in the 90s, where gold, I think, was 300 or 400 an ounce. So we could have bought a ton of that and never had to work again. Instead, we've got the cards that I need to get graded and hope they're 10s, and then I'll never have to work again. But you've got to get into different assets. You've got to understand why things go up and down. It's just a logical thing. How do you not understand that? So how a market works is demand for the product and a low supply. The lower the supply and the higher the demand, higher the price. So things that are highly in supply, they don't draw people in to buy it. So in other words, gold's very limited, as we've said. Not much time left to buy very soon. It's unobtainable. Shortages of gold. Okay, that tells me it's very limited. That brings people to buy it because it's limited, right? But if you have, is your stock very limited? No. There's millions of shares of all these, Amazon and Apple and Microsoft. They're not short. They're not limited. You're more or less betting on the company to keep expanding, which it won't. There reaches a point where the company is huge, and therefore the percentage. So when you look at the percentage of silver going up, you go, oh, it went from 31 to 32. Oh, that's a good percentage. And gold goes from 29 to 29.20. Well, that's barely a percentage. So as these big companies get bigger, the percentage goes down, right? So Microsoft, I mean, they got to have huge earnings for it to even show. They have little earnings. Oh, they grew at 0.1%. I don't know. So right now you're more in the stock market because you're trying to get out of inflation, and you're in the big ones because you think they're safer. Well, I'm in Amazon and Apple. What can happen to Apple and Microsoft? What can happen to these companies? Well, the same thing can happen to all the other companies. They're just not going to do anything. So that's really what you have to understand. Gold being limited but can't be printed. So I think people aren't understanding what inflation is. So they think it's cost, and they think, well, I'm okay. I'm in Microsoft. The cost won't affect them. I don't know why not. Or Apple. Nobody wants to pay $1,600 for phone, and then the Apple service, the TV stuff will stop going. People will say, "Fuck it, I'll just have Roku." I have Roku. I get Tubi and then Pluto, and it doesn't cost me a nickel. And then I have an antenna, which it cost me $10. It's already paid for, so I can watch quite a bit of TV and movies and sports. Doesn't cost me anything. The only thing I pay for is Netflix because I want to watch Money Heist. And that's it. That's the only cost. But I'm not going to buy Amazon and Apple Prime and Peacock and all this bullshit. And they all keep selling it, and I don't know who's stupid enough to buy it. Let's see, I can feed the kids or have Amazon Prime. Well, yeah, I got to go with the Amazon Prime. Sorry, kids, we're not eating this week, but we get to watch what? I mean, it's insanity. So they're basing their earnings on this crap, but how much more can it expand? If you're in Amazon, you're not switching to Paramount or Peacock. You're not getting all of them. You may be getting one. So I don't know where the extra is coming from. As money gets tight, what are you going to cut? Well, I got to cut my costs. Well, my rent went up, or my mortgage, or my taxes, and gas is going up, and utilities are going up. So I got started. I better cut my cable or my Amazon Prime, so I don't see them going up. I see them going down. So why would you buy stock in them? They're not going up. Well, it's a 401k, it's a mutual fund, so it's a bunch of stocks. Yeah, but if the economy is dropping, a bunch of stocks will lose. With high interest rates, so my thesis is basically taking the trade cycle. And I found my notebook and I'm going to figure out how to type it up. But basically in the trade cycle, there's three sections. There's the interest rates going down, the interest rates staying even, and the interest rates going up. We got pretty high interest rates now. They're what, 4.5%, 5%. But with inflation, it'll make the interest rates higher. Well, what stocks do well? Nothing. The economy tanks with high interest rates. The only stocks that do well are going to be Coke and Pepsi, and it's going to be chocolate, and it's going to be maybe Heinz ketchup. Things that don't cost anything that you eat, you'll continue to eat. Those will be the best performers, and it's not like they're going to make great revenue. The ones that aren't are going to be car companies and high manufacturing companies that you pay a lot of interest for, like a car. To go buy a car is going to cost you 7-8% to buy your Camry. You're going to go buy one? No, you could lease it maybe, but you probably go buy new. You probably have already, like I've already bought it. I'm not looking for a new car. So I mean, that's really the key to it is you're not, you don't want to be in stocks that are relying on interest rates, and interest rates going up, the stock's going to crash. So you have a market that's about to get hammered because of the inflation, which again makes the money worthless. So there's a higher amount of money needs to go buy things. That's ridiculous. That's already there, but then prices aren't inflation, so not all the prices go up. But if the prices don't go up, the company then goes out, again hurting the economy. So where is the economy growing? Or is it all the DraftKings and bet MGM? Is that where the economy is going? People aren't going to have money to gamble. Are you kidding? And it's such sucker bets. It's ridiculous. We talked about how to bet casino and poker yesterday and football. So really, you have an economy that's shrinking. You have less people working. That's what hurts in inflation. People don't work because costs go up, and either businesses go out, so people aren't working, or the ones can't increase their prices, so prices go up a little, like cauliflower and broccoli, and so you're stuck with, well, geez, the prices went up, so I'm kind of screwed. I can't. What am I going to do? So sales drop because as prices go up, you buy less, right? Broccoli's now $2.99. I'll just buy one, and then I can't buy other things. If you live on a budget, if you live on planet Earth, you must live on a budget. So you're in your 401k, and how is the economy going up? So what's your 401k doing? It's going down. At what point does the economy go up? Well, what is going up? Oh, shit, gold, 29.08, and silver is about to explode. That's what's going up. Get on board, get on the elevator. And this is what people don't understand. Well, I got 500,000 in my 401k. I get that, but it's going to go down, just like having 500k in the bank. The money's worthless. So the 500k isn't going to buy you shit. So people aren't able to understand this. And I think they do, but they're scared to understand it, or they don't want to understand it. And those are the ones that go broke. It's the same, people that bet, KC to win the Super Bowl, not looking at Philadelphia. Now, that's kind of, I get it because you bet Mahomes. Like I said, I bet the dog, and it happened to be Philly, so I won it. But had Philly been favored and I had KC was dog, it would have been a totally different game. KC would have won. If they were the dog, KC would have won the game. But Philly's upset that they're the dog. We're better than that. They don't show us respect, and they play a better game. So you've got money in the stock market, and what are we telling you? Get out. It's not going up, it's going down. It's artificially inflated because the Fed's putting money in to say, look how good our economy is. Look at our stock market, 44,000. The real price of the stock market is maybe 20,000. The real price on gold may be 25,000, silver 2 or 3,000. And this is so everything you're looking, but you're not reading, you're not understanding what's really happening. So you're being misled by the government because they don't want to look bad. Well, we can't. We got to prop up the stock market so we look like we know what we're doing, which we all know they don't. They're all corrupt, and you're seeing all this corruption as Trump is exposing, Department of Defense and what this Right Aid or whatever it was, U.S. aid. This whole Ukraine thing's money laundering, the military's all money laundering. So as you start seeing it, you start realizing, yeah, the economy's probably not that good, but they keep printing money, which is why the money is worthless because they keep printing it. Now, if they do that, is your 401k going up or down? It's probably going down. So even if you don't believe a word I'm saying and you hold your 401k, that's worth 500 grand. The 401k is going to be worth 300 grand soon. And now what are you going to do? And are you then going to sell it when it hits 300 grand, your 500,000? Or are you going to protect yourself by, okay, let's sell 250 of it, pay our tax, and go buy $220,000 worth of gold? And gold hasn't started, it's just starting to move, and silver. And all of a sudden, your 250 is now worth maybe 150, but the other 250 is now worth 400. You're still worth 500 because your gold and silver have gone up. Your stocks have gone down, which is the point I'm trying to make. And if you don't get out of your stocks, it'll be zero, like if you don't get out of the dollar. If you don't get out of this, you keep it in the bank, it's going to be worthless. And I point out all the examples. That's Greece and Sri Lanka and Zimbabwe and Venezuela and Argentina and Brazil and Germany and Rome and the Roman Empire and Spain and France and England. So I'm pointing all this stuff out to you that this is what's happening, and you must realize that, right? So again, open your eyes, and you think you're safe in the dollar, you think you're safe in the stock market. You're not. You're not safe in anything dollar. And this is what I'm trying to hammer it home, but people are too scared. Well, I can't sell my 401k. I'll have to pay tax on it and a penalty. And I'd rather have it go to zero than pay tax and buy gold with it. You're not going to be able to buy gold and silver with it soon. Not only will it be very hard to find, it'll be very expensive. So again, just get out of it. Just take half of it. So keep 250 and watch the 250 go down to 150. But the other 250 that you got out of and you bought gold and silver with, they're now back. You're back to 500,000 with it. Then maybe you figure out what to do and what we're saying. So you always want to get in what's going up and get in what makes sense. You have to make sense of what's going on. You have to understand they're printing money. It's worthless. Here's Pat. Major shortage of gold reported in South Korea. Gold fever is broken out in China. Big queues and waiting lines and not much time left to buy. Very soon it's unaffordable or unattainable. Well, what does that tell you? Here's something that's huge. It's going up and up and up. People are waiting in line for it. Huge demand, very low supply. Price will go down. Don't you want to be in that? Isn't that why you're in a 401k? Because you think stocks will go up? Aren't you cognizant enough to realize stocks aren't going up? Oh, fuck, the guy from Singapore is telling me China and South Korea and everything. So the gold price is going up, and you can see gold price is 29.07 or whatever. So you can see that's going up. It was 2,000. It's, so connect the dots. Why do you want to still be in stock? Why is stock your answer when you've got to understand variables change? And this is the lesson I taught the other day. There was something brought up, and I don't know if we're talking, I don't know what we're talking, but people, I said, you can't do technical analysis because too much variables are changing. I don't remember what subject we're on, but they were looking at technical analysis. And I think it was gold and silver, basically. I think they were doing technical analysis on gold. Yeah. And I said, you can't do it. There's too many variables changing. Now it's bricks. Now there's the huge demand. They're breaking COMEX up. So how can you look at something 10 years ago where it was priced in COMEX and there wasn't the demand for gold and silver? Now you have high demand for gold, low supply of gold, COMEX blowing up. How can you can possibly use a chart 10 years ago and think it's the same chart as what you have now? You can't, but you got to understand variables always change. Um, so this is what you've got to understand. So if you're in a 401k, the variables have changed. The dollar is worthless. Your stocks are not going up. The fact you get a matching, you're much better off watching gold go to the moon than getting 2% max on your 401k. That's worthless. When I got this job, I turned down the 401. I said, I don't want the 401. Well, we match it. I don't want it. I want to buy gold with it. And so that's what I do. Give me my money. Don't take anything out and let me buy gold. And that's what I do. So that's what kind of is going on. Off to the bank and get some money. Off to the silver. I'm going to buy 10 ounces of silver. I know he has silver. I don't know what he has in gold, but gold's getting too expensive right now. If I was still working, I would have bought an ounce and a quarter today, but it's not, or Thursday, but it's not. So I'll just buy some silver and be content. But I've been buying gold and silver for 3, 4, or 5 years already. So I'm, do I have enough? Yeah. Do I want more? Always. So it's like somebody puts a chocolate cake out there. Yeah, I had some, but yeah, I could eat more, or steak or ribs. Yeah, I had it the other day, but I can have more. So when asked the question, how much is enough? The answer is it's never enough. Buy as much as you can because it's a no-brainer. You're going to buy silver at $30 an ounce, and when it hits 1,000, you're going to say, "Geez, I wish I had bought more at $30," because that's human nature. So get the fuck out of 401ks, get the fuck out of stocks. If you want to leave a little, like I told these Bitcoin people, I got in at $2. Yeah. Oh, of course. And you didn't sell any of it when it hit 20 grand and 30 grand. So you're an absolute idiot. Okay. I get that. That registers pretty quick with me. And then, so he's got, the guy at the Toyota dealership. He says, well, we're up 50,000. I said, well, why don't you take 25? Take profit, like we're at Caesar's Palace, take your profit, go buy gold and silver with it. And then the other, you still have the Bitcoin. If it goes up, you're fine. If it goes down, you've made your money in gold and silver. So diversify out of it. Take your profit. So if you're in stocks, what did you pay for your $500,000 401k? Take half of it and enjoy, and then get the fuck out of stocks. They're not going to go up. The economy's crashing. The dollar's crashing. Why do you think gold is going to the moon? That's part of it. The other part is nowhere else to put your money. But the U.S. dollar is certainly not a safe haven, and the U.S. stock market is certainly not a safe haven. You must understand these parts. The safest haven is gold and silver because they can't print the fucking shit. And it's extremely limited. And as Pat, this is probably the best thing. Shortages of gold reported in South Korea. What does that tell you? The demand is far higher than the supply, so that makes prices go up. Then he says gold fever is broken out in China, big queues and waiting lines. So there's a huge demand in China for gold, which we knew anyway. They might have 100,000 tons because we're assuming they got 60 and the citizens have 20. But the way there's huge lines, citizens are going to have 40,000. The citizens in China are 100 times smarter than the citizens in the U.S. that there's big lines for gold. And I can go to my gold store in an hour and watch. He'll have gold and he'll have silver, and there's not a huge line there. So I can see that. Today I'll be calm because I'm buying silver, and I know we'll have 10 ounces of silver for me. But if I was going to buy an ounce of gold, I'd be very nervous right now going, does he have any? Because he only has if somebody goes and sells it to him. That's where he's getting his inventory. So anyway, that's how I look at it. So wouldn't you want to be in something that there's huge demand, price going up versus something demand slipping and price going down? And if you're going to bet on the U.S. economy with monopoly money, no, sorry, probably not the thing to do. Or the euro with their monopoly money, probably not what you want to get into. So understand that you've got to understand you can't print the money. Look at the shortages in gold. That tells you there's shortages, the price goes up. In the dollar, who's buying dollars? So you don't buy dollars, you buy stocks, or you buy real estate trust, or you buy annuities, but it's based on the dollar keeping the value. So let's say you get 10% on an annuity and you put your 200,000 in that. So you put 200,000 annuity instead of gold, and you're going to get 9% back. All right, so it's a year later, you got 9% interest. Your 200,000 that you used is now worth 130,000. And so if we do our math right, and let's say you get 10%, you made $2,000 and you lost 70,000. Yeah, you did great on that transaction. Because the gold's going down, you've got to realize that, and this makes your dollar, your non-dollar assets go up, like gold and silver and Rolexes and stuff like that. And that's what you got to understand. Stocks aren't the place to be because the economy is falling, and what is going to happen to the stock prices? They're going to just keep going. So let's say the last time I saw the market was last week, was 44,000. Well, what do you think? It's going to 88,000, or is it going to 28,000? What do you think? There's no way the stock market's going to 88,000 when you have massive inflation and massive recession and a lot of people being laid off. That's not going to grow the economy. It's going to shrink it. People have less money to spend. So you're not going to buy as much. And therefore, the economy is going down. Therefore, the stocks are going to go down, because if you miss earnings, you get tanked. There goes your 401k, or your whatever you're in is going to drop because the value of your mutual fund is going to go down because the economy sucks. Well, once you understand that, what are you going to wait for? You're going to wait for the market to collapse and then get out, or are you going to get out now knowing the market's going to collapse? Again, it's back to the Titanic. The ship has the hole in it, the water's coming in, and it's sinking. You can either stay on the boat till it's totally sunk and drowned, or you can get off the fucking boat as it's sinking, which is what's happening now with the dollar. So as it's sinking, get off the boat. It's very simple. And yet people are scared. And, all you can do is say, look, so take half of it and buy gold and silver. That'll relieve your risk. Can you sit there with your $500,000 401k, and what if it went to zero? How are you going to feed your family then? You'll have lost your job. What are you going to do with your 401k that's now worthless, or maybe worth 50,000 or something? So you have the opportunity to protect yourself by taking half of it and buying gold and silver. And you don't ask me, just look at the gold price, 29.05, 29.10. It was 29.40 last night. It's going to 3,500. It's going to 10,000. So you can get on the ride and go up, take the elevator up, or just ignore it and just stay, well, I'm in stocks but you don't even know the economy is not growing, it's shrinking, but you can't figure that out. And then you have a $36 trillion debt, which means, it's $1.25 trillion that they have to come up with to pay it, which means that the value of the dollar is shrinking and the economy is shrinking, because instead of using the money to help the economy, they're using money to pay on the interest. Not a good thing. So that's really what you have to understand. And wrap your hands around that. So get the fuck out of stocks. They're not going up. At best, they stay for a while, but then they're going to go down. And the fact you're seeing 44,000 in the market, and that's what you see, you're not in the market like that. You're in stocks. Even on a mutual fund, you're in 20 stocks, right? You're in Amazon and Apple and all this bullshit. Is Tesla very valued very properly with the 700 PE? That means their earnings are 2 and their price is 700. The price is 140 for a company that makes $2. Their earnings are $2 a share and their price is 140. No, the price probably should be about 3, not 140. So you need to get out of that shit. But you don't know because you're listening to your financial planner who's an idiot. He's a salesman. Don't listen to the salesman. Listen to the economist. And then if that, listen to Austrian economists. But use your common sense, right? The market is not going up. Even if it was a great market, would the stock market go from 40 to 80? Come on. So, but you have gold moving. So you could say, well, gold doesn't get above 2,000. Okay. But it's price fixed, but okay. But now it's 2,900. Well, silver doesn't move. It's $20 now. Wait, silver's 32. Silver's about to go to the moon because they're going to blow up COMEX from doing these stupid derivatives. But until then, silver's still being held down. We understand that. So this is the problem. So you're kind of looking at that, and that's, what do you believe? Do you believe that gold going up, silver's not going to? Or do you believe COMEX can stay losing all this trillions of dollars on derivatives and not paying the price? Do you believe silver won't go up because COMEX won't blow up? Why is the U.S. bringing gold in? They got to cover their derivatives. So guess what they're going to do next? They're going to have to bring silver in because they're going to cover their derivatives in silver. Because the people asking for the demand are not me and you. They're China and Russia and India saying, give me my fucking silver. I'm taking delivery of it. So that's coming, and that, so, just open your eyes. It's, wait a minute. We see what's happening. We see gold going up. You can say, well, let's just ignore it, or you can try to figure out why. It's because of the demand that Pat's showing us. So be smart, and you can never go wrong diversifying in the gold and silver because they can't print it. They can't inflate it like they're inflating this. This they're printing. You see all the corruption. Just watch what Trump's doing. Oh, this U.S. aid, all the corruption, the U.S. Army, the Department of Education, all these different housing and everything else, all corruption. That's what you're doing with your tax dollars, and they're killing the dollar. And it doesn't matter. It's not going to stop inflation because you printed the money. So unless Trump goes and burns all the money to bring the thing down, it's still inflation. It's printing the money, not debasement. Debasement's coins. I just shake my head how stupid these guys are. Anyway, so that's really what's going on. I think I'm off to the bank, get some silver, off to swim. It's 1:00. So I guess we're supposed to get a ton of snow tomorrow or Saturday. I don't know. I look out the window. If it's snowing, it's snowing. If it's not snowing, I don't care. And I go from there. So we will see. Anyway, have a good day. Any questions or comments? I will hang on for another minute or two, and we'll go. Any questions? We hit the Super Bowl, Philly plus 7.5 and over. You're welcome, Pat. Go buy more gold. Go buy more silver. The more you can buy, the better you are. What I'm doing, I'll share this with you, is, how I have my master's in economics, and I got all my notes, right? So I'm gonna, I don't know if I'll make a book or what, but I'm taking summary. So this is my notes. Say's law, supply and demand, the Fed, FX system, gold strategy, inflation, economic history, the Roman Empire, and it's like here's another. I mean, these are my notes that I've got: bank systems, economies, J.P. Morgan, and now I'm on a third page. I got so much notes from my masters, but I just, because if I'm trying to find something, I can find it easier to talk about. And there's so many subjects: the value of money, the liquidity trap, the nature of savings. There's a lot of things that I do. And like money, people don't understand what money is. It's a medium of exchange, period. But it's not meant to be printed to death like they've done. It's not meant to be fiat. It's meant to be backed by gold. That's why you have to have the gold standard, because you can't print anymore. So anyway, I'll try to do a book or something. I just hate the running part of it. I think too fast, as you can tell from here. I'd rather explain it to you than try to write it down in a book. I just don't have the patience for it. But I'll try to do something like that. And then I found my thesis. My thesis was how the trade cycle affects the stock market. So he's teaching us the trade cycle. And the way my mind works, I go, well, I wonder how that affects the stock market. And that's where I came up with it. I got an A+ in it, and the deans liked it. And my teacher said, "Should I get this published for you?" And I said, "What do I need to publish?" I didn't know anything about it. What do I need to publish? I should have got it published, because it would have made a big deal to say I published the paper. Puts me way ahead of the crowd, right? But I have it. I found it. And it's basically just saying at each part of the cycle, which are basically interest rates, and they go up and they cause a boom and then the bust. The stock markets obviously gets affected by if it's booming or busting. And we're busting. And that's why I say you don't want to be in a 401k. You're not making any money in a 401k, because the economy's crashing. We're near the end of the trade cycle, which I understand, and it's going down, and you're not going to make any money. Why would you be in stocks now? It's not the place to be. But when you add the inflation in, and a bad stock market, and a bad dollar, and a bad economy, your only place can be is gold and silver. So you've got all these things adding up to why gold and silver, why gold's going up, because Basel III in a tier 1, and silver's not, because it's not Basel III in tier 1 yet. But as soon as they make it a tier 1 asset and Basel III, where they have to settle, it's there. But there are already 25,000 tons in the hole, silver. They got to come up with 25,000 tons and pay these people off, and they're not happy. And they're the Russians and the Chinese. It's not me and you. And so when I say that, when Putin wants his money, you better give it to him, or China. So you got to be careful. Trump will clean up a lot of the mess, I guess, if he can. I don't think it'll be easy for him to take down these agencies. He should get rid of the central bank. He should put J.P. Morgan, that whole bank should be in jail for life for all this price fixing. I don't get it. They put Madoff in jail when J.P. Morgan was in on it, but they don't put J.P. Morgan in jail, and he's doing a much bigger Ponzi scheme, because the money doesn't even exist that he's giving you, or the money he's lending you is not even real. So it'd be like Madoff lending you money. Yeah, I'll lend you 50,000 and give me 5% back. Madoff actually gave you 15%. Jamie Dimon doesn't. He just comes up with phony money, with money out of thin air. Says here's 100,000 for the thing. And all right, so I'm gonna end. Let me just, Scott, give me 1 minute. I'm just ending class. Okay, hold on. So that's my friend from Florida. We're trying to teach him about 401ks. All right, so that's what's happening. Have a good day. Buy your gold and silver. You can't lose with it, and get the hell out of stocks. The economy is not rising, right? We know that. It's going down. The trade cycle's down. So just be smart and, take half of it, and you're diversifying, and you have no risk. You have more risk in stocks than you do in gold and silver. All right, everybody. Have a good day. www.teaserking.com if you need to reach me, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Hopefully, gold will be back at 29.50. All right. Have a nice day, everybody.